Good to go. Pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah. Take attendance. Neil Mascola here. AJ Gordis absent. Kevin Gendron absent. Tommy Kiernan
Here.
Joe Pascucci
There.
Eileen Bracco
Here.
Rick Poole. We're gonna have Joe be a voting member tonight since AJ and Kevin are gone. I'm gonna I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the August 20th, 2025 zoning commission meeting.
I will second that with corrections.
Go
Page 7, there's a motion to recess to the aquifer protection. But there's no motion to come back in, but I think that I think there was nothing to happen, so we just didn't have a recess.
Right.
So that would just have to be changed. And that's it.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? It's passed. We're gonna go to new business E. Commission discussion decision for site plan renewal extension for the apartment building for the property located at 628 New Haven Road, applicant Verserino Limited Family Partnership.
My name's Jerry Nascarino. I'm the owner of 628 New Haven Road. I'm here for a site plan renewal. Nothing has changed on my site plan, and my engineer updated and stamped it, Jim Swift. So I'm here to get that done and hope that we can get this project. We finally got our financing in place, and that's a big hurdle. And I was first to try to put apartments in this town, but I see there's two or three others already ahead of me, so we're not the first anymore, but we'd like to still go to units.
So as you know, I think the first approvals for this were good
2019.
2019, I was gonna say before COVID. And so just to be safe, and I know there's been changes that the state legislature made in regard to site plans, but just to be safe, I want to make sure since it's been 5 years that we renew the plans. And that they haven't changed at all. He's updated the stamp, as you said, so we have a current set now on file.
Any good commissions?
No, sir.
Good. I'll make a motion to approve the site plan for the residential apartment building for the property located at 628 New Haven Road, applicant Verserino Limited Family Partnership.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Have a great evening. Thank you.
Do we?
On reduction?
We want to do the bond reduction.
For the flag? Yeah, let's do the bond reduction. Commission discussion for a reduction of the bond to $21,576 for the property located at 491 Main Street, applicant KinderCare.
Yeah, so Kind Care, they have opened for business now officially. They had the grand opening yesterday. The 21,576, I believe, is just for a storm drain catch area.
Yes, it's to replace a couple catch basins, and place a section of sidewalk that needed reparation
On one corner. So the previous bond was 166,000. They've got all their stuff done, their landscaping, everything else was done. They repaid the payment to the town in lieu of paving was done. So we're just gonna reduce it down. They have a check ready for us. So it'll be down to the 21,000 that Jim discussed.
Good, commissioners?
No.
I'll make a motion to reduce the required bond amount to $21,576 for public improvements for the property located at 491 North Main Street, applicant Kind Care.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So we'll do the next one and then.
Sure.
Let's, she wants us to make some.
Yeah, why don't you ever do it now, because the next
Okay.
thing would be public hearings.
Okay,
Thank you. I have to leave, so I won't be able to give comment, so thank you, Rick, for letting me make comments. I'd just like to ask if we can add the, to the October agenda, unless it's filled, if not November, please, for the zone change from the RADD to R8 on those Millville properties. And then the other thing is, I received an email, I think you did too, from somebody on Ward Street. And Ward Street is where we did the International Builders and that whole area. They put those two buildings, they ended up switching the buildings to the other side. But a lot of the people on that street, and this one woman in particular, asked to have a conversation about the buffer. And I remember that when we were doing the whole application, that we were very thoughtful and meticulous about making sure that there was a buffer between Ward Street and International Builders. And if I remember correctly, they said that they were going to just take down dead trees, but they were going to leave a good buffer. They would plant anything that needed to be planted for a buffer. And so I did go yesterday just to see, and it is not at all.
They took everything down.
Huh?
They took everything down.
They took everything down, and it's a big slope.
I thought we talked about this.
They're gonna be planting in October.
Yeah, they got a modified site
Yeah.
plan showing revised
When
plans.
did we do this
Well,
though?
this was a long time ago.
We did this probably, they had gotten a variance, there was a talk about the building, and they turned the building
Yeah.
around.
Yeah.
And all of that, they did a modified site plan. They still had the plans for all the arborvitae's going along the area I think they're talking about. They did plant a bunch, unfortunately, they didn't survive, it seems, some of them. But they have a plan now, they're going to go in October, as Laura was saying, to put in more arborvitae's along that whole area.
Got some bushes, more bushes to go in as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
They're gonna replace the fence where it's broken.
Okay, that would be good. But I do have some pictures, and, arborvitae's are not gonna take care of this in somebody's backyard. So clearly, what we believed was going to happen is not. So it's more than just, okay, you'll plant more arborvitae's. And the arborvitae's that they planted, first of all, they cut down stuff that they weren't gonna cut down. And they put arborvitae's that are so low that, you could still see from the backyard, the dumpsters. So not at all what we were planning or expecting. These neighbors deserve to have, they were nice enough understanding that that's an industrial property and it is what it is. But to have them go through that, not okay. And I don't think, the arborvitae's, these are arborvitae's and not doing much. And the dead stuff is growing, not even taken care of in between. So all the dead stuff that they're not taking care of is growing through the fence. So arborvitae's are nice, but there's more that I think that we need to talk about. So,
So we'll go out there and with them, we'll take the site plan that's approved, that we did approve. And we'll go over with them and see if there's something more that we can get done with them.
okay, but I sincerely insist that we're gonna do something because they cut down everything that they weren't supposed to cut down. That was going to be that buffer. And now these homeowners are and renters are left with these huge stacks, and there's even some with lights. I mean, what happened to down lights so that we're protecting other properties? These people are sitting in the back and it's like a football stadium with the lights. It's not okay. It's not okay. So
Here,
We really
we were
need to-
talking about reflectors that point down more.
whatever we need to do, we need to do, because those residents need and deserve more. So if we can keep that on,
Anything else?
that's it, thank you.
All right, let me continue our public hearing at 6:05, the special permit application to remove up to 1,000 cubic yards of earth material to build a new house for the property located at 229 City Hill Street. Applicant Michael Sanchez.
Document. Yeah, so everything has been updated per the review with Jim, and site plans are now showing the amount of earth material that will be removed. There were some additional questions Jim had. I was able to address all of them. It's Scott Myers with a certified letter, which is attached in the packet that you have, second page. It should be fine from there.
I did provide this, he brought in this package that I just gave to you tonight. Okay. In with them, so if you want to take a moment to read through it.
There were like 5 things, out of the 5, 3 had more questions and those were addressed in the other.
So,
The design of the wall, as far as, the design itself is, as far as I'm concerned, is fine. Obviously, Bill Hersman, building inspector, will review the design of the wall. Where I have my concerns is, and what the engineer did to help. What I asked them to do was on the site plan, you'll see there's the wall line, and then you'll see a line behind it on the site plan. And that line is the line that the fabric is gotta be installed. So they have to put a layer of fabric every 2 feet. So they dig down, they build the wall, they put a layer of fabric in the back 20 feet behind the wall. And on the sides, anywhere from, I don't know, it's 20 to 16 feet to 8 feet behind the wall, depending on how high the wall is.
and then they have to put the fabric in, they put another 2 feet of soil, and they backfill over that, and they compact it, and then put another layer of fabric, and they need to build up. So on the site plan, they put this line to demonstrate the extent of that fabric. And on the sides on either side of the property line, that line goes right along the property. And it doesn't account for any, stepping back of the ground or any type of shoring or anything to say how we're gonna keep the soil up. So it's not collapsing like we had on Mold. And the soil is fairly similar. I mean, yes, it's got some rock in the back.
Just to add, it's all rock, the entire thing is all ledge. So from the left to the right, however you wanna see it, is all ledge across. However, to address Jim's question, I've put on the letter, number 3 is addressing exactly that. Shoring may be required given the depth of excavation and their proximity to the property lines. The design team would have the structural engineer evaluate site conditions during construction and determine the appropriate protective measurements. Any temporary support that is deemed necessary will be implemented in coordination with the approved wall design to ensure long-term stability. These measurements will be carried out in a controlled manner such as adjacent properties will not be impacted in any way. So, I believe.
So I understand that, but how is it gonna happen? I mean, you've got no space to do it. Before, and what happened also is if you look to a previous site plan, and I was concerned because it looked like it got worse from the first design. And what happened is you pushed the walls back from the original site plan closer to the property line. So I without some information on how you're gonna shore it, because you're gonna need to, because you're gonna be 20 feet deep in the corner here.
Yeah, but
So how do you shore 20 feet?
that's all rock. So we're not looking at like material coming off or falling down, because we're talking about probably 2 feet of dirt, and then right after that is solid rock. So we're digging into the rock to place a wall behind the rock. So it's been dug out.
Yeah, no, it's not with the detail, it's not with the,
I don't know.
the detail the engineer gave. He says that the back half, the left half of the property is rock, it shows a retaining wall, but the right half is not showing any rock.
Well, that's on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
where not much of the concerns are, because.
No, that's where my concerns mostly are, is the right
Right
side.
on the right-hand side, there's the property, the neighbors, whatever, it's all forest there. We're not gonna be onto their driveway or something like that. It's gonna
I
be
understand, but as soon as,
workable.
if their property slides in on your property, I don't know what happens then?
I think, to be honest, we've taken a closer look to all that. The slopes there, I know what you're showing there is based on what you're seeing up front, like facing the lot right in front of you. However, if you see it right on that side where the slope starts, how it slopes down onto their driveway, it's not as steep. It's something like workable that you can definitely do. My contractor has already gone behind all that, through all my property line with tractors all the way back to, cut some of the trees and things like that to slope it so it can be safe, so the stuff don't fall down. And it's pretty doable. They already done it. So they gone out with a tractor, knocked down trees, come down. They made a pathway to go up and down, and it's doable. As I said, they've done it. So I will encourage, when stuff is going on, for you guys to stop by and see how things are progressing, and go from there. Because I believe, just probably having something in writing won't make too much sense comparing to what exactly is going on slope-wise and how the terrain is looking like over there. So, as I said, we've done already some work going out there.
You keep referencing we, but you've only been here with you as I. You have not brought any experts in. We've asked that multiple times, you should bring, let me finish. That you should bring your, and you've made excuses, oh, they can't make it, they couldn't be here. This is important enough to us that they should be here. And that is a concern that I have What is your background? Are you an engineer?
No, I'm not.
You're not an engineer, right?
Yeah, or I'm you know.
You're a property owner that would like to develop a house on this, which I understand.
Yeah,
But we have asked you through Jim and through this commission at previous meetings, you need to bring somebody in who can specifically answer the questions that Jim has had and that this commission has had, and I think you have failed to do that. So that's gonna be up to the commission to make that decision.
I have,
But-
well, I understand that, you know, I've engaged with engineers, pay more money to get inputs, to get plans reviewed, restructured. Fortunately, I don't have the time to come because they have all their meetings in other towns going on exactly the same time as this one is. And they told me, you know, with the information I have provided, with the letter that I have, and with the explanation, you know, I don't see major issues going on these, you know.
When I spoke to the structural engineer, the design plans, and he clearly said, hey, these are the structural plans. I don't bother with means and methods, basically how it gets installed, that's not him.
Would you like,
That's the contractor who puts it in, that's the site engineer who designs it. I'm just giving you a wall. If it's built the way it's designed, it will be structurally sound. I have no doubts it will. It's just, you know, your wall is 18 feet tall, and you're up and you've got to excavate back to the property line. So you have no doubt to have a sheer drop off. Now, if some of it's rock, that's great, but you haven't said that that's an issue. And you're not allowed to have, for OSHA, more than like 4 feet of sheer drop off without some sort of shoring. So, you know, if you have 18 feet of rock, okay, but you haven't provided that information for us. And if you have 18 feet of rocks, you wouldn't be building a retaining wall.
that's the thing that, I don't know, you know, in order to, I guess, determine how deep the rock goes, you have to dig out the whole top
Oh,
section.
you could drill holes, you could dig test pits, you could.
We did dig holes in order to, you know, get to the deep that required on the site plan, so.
And I have no doubt that the contractor will try.
So what's the bottom line? So obviously, we don't feel, of all the information he's given us, that we as a committee should approve this. Based on, the information you have today.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I don't know how, if you're worried about the neighbor, if you had an easement to go on the neighbor's property, then that would be one thing, but, or if you had a plan, if you said, hey, we're gonna shotcrete this soil as we go up, you know? That's what the DOT does, but it's extremely expensive, and I don't think they're gonna plan on doing that. Given what we have, we could end up with the same situation, where they just try to get in, or they go into the neighbor's property, and maybe the neighbor doesn't complain, but.
Well, part of the neighbor's property, is on my side, where the driveway is being constructed on my side, so that's, you know, I've been
So
complaining.
what exactly this, like you need to give us here to give him the okay? Because obviously, what he's done so far isn't working.
He would have to, in my opinion, provide some sort of a method of shoring the construction, something. Now, saying that it's gonna happen safely isn't good enough, in my opinion.
Okay.
Given,
I
I mean, if
agree.
it was in the middle of the woods and there were no neighbors around, okay, I can accept that, okay? Because no one's gonna get impacted other than the person who's putting it up. Which isn't a great situation, but this case, you're right up against a property line. And whether it's woods or they're on your property, it's still, if something collapses, it's still a situation where your neighbor's gotta deal with it.
I understand your concern, and that's, I truly, I'm a big fan of safety, and of course, my contractor will take the proper methods to do so in a safe
My
manner.
point is, I don't see how he can do it. He's got no space to put any type of shoring in. He's got no space, nothing. You know? That's the
Well,
problem.
he says otherwise, we
Well,
could,
he should be here and
He should
say,
be here to say
this is what I'm going to do. That's what he's gotta say.
okay, so this whole thing started because I needed the permit approval for the 1,000 cubic feet yards of earth removal, right? Now that turned into some technical question that asked, and here we are, right, kind of a little bit outside the topic of the actual permit, right, which is fine. I'm more than happy to approve any of the stuff that is required in order to, make this work and make it safe for everyone, right? So what if we, do an approval with a condition that, this further stuff will be provided to you in order to satisfy all your concerns? And for the earth removal, I think that doesn't relate to what we're talking about, which is some needs and methods on how we're gonna accomplish what the plans are saying. And, we will work it that way. I will provide what you need, or probably if you need, a meeting with the contractor, I'll try to bring them in, they're extremely busy, but I will make it happen, but, at this point is costing me a lot of money. Keep holding the contractor, all
I
this,
think if you had everybody here at once, it wouldn't be costing you all this money.
it's hard to bring them in, that's why they were providing me the stuff, in writing, and I did engage them.
Everybody else brings them in. So Commissioners, what do you think?
Contractor's gotta come in.
Okay.
I agree. We need there for those guys, more details.
Yep. So we're gonna table. Well,
He has to request an extension.
No, he doesn't have to request this because it's over now at this point.
You said unless, what are we at?
We're at the end. This is it.
This is 65 days?
Yeah.
Then he has to withdraw his application and come in with a new one without prejudice. Right?
As I said, can we do a an approval with the condition that, I
no,
provide them?
we're not gonna do that.
I'd like to say something too. The fact is that we've had 65 days of asking you to have your experts in here to talk about this whole thing. That area, that hill is huge. And it needs to be, we need to know that that's gonna be safe, and the methods and means are gonna be there to make sure it's safe. You've got people on either side of you, it's huge, that whole space. So you are asked repeatedly to have the people come in, can we just do this, can we just do this, can we just do, we just asked you to bring your professionals in to give us the answers, and it hasn't happened. So I don't think any of us would even consider it.
I did ask him, I offered to, that if they need to be paid to be here, I'll ask him. They said, I don't think, I need to be here because with the information that I provided, it is, so.
If they didn't provide any method of it happening, all they did is said it'll be done. And it'll be, we'll do what we have to do.
Let's vote, and move on.
All right, so, I make a motion, well, wait,
First, is there anybody else in the public that wants to speak?
oh, I gotta close.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Just, yeah.
Is there anyone else in the public that wants to speak? Anyone else in the public that wants to make a comment? Anyone else in the public that wants to make a comment? Close the hearing. I'm gonna close the public hearing. 6:05, special permit application to remove up to 1,000 cubic yards of earth material to build a new house for the property located at 229 City Hill Street, applicant Michael Sanchez. And the time is 6:30 on Wednesday, September 25th.
Now, as Lori mentioned, an applicant does have the opportunity to withdraw the application before you were to vote. Or he can choose to allow you to make your vote. I think there's a pretty good idea of how you're going to vote.
So if he withdraws the application, what does he need to do?
Hold on, Ned's online.
Say that again?
Ned, you're muted, Ned, unmute.
Unmute, Ned.
Put down the scotch.
How about now? How about now? Good?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he can withdraw the application and resubmit. And in previous experiences, the commission has allowed the applicant to resubmit without the normal filing fees, but to pay for the publication fees. That's something we've done in the past, and that's up to the commission.
I don't have a problem with that. Want to charge him twice? But he has to.
That would be a decision made.
Yeah, you have to make that decision.
Well, I think that makes the most sense, right? So. So,
You have to
Oh,
say,
so vote?
no vote.
So
yeah,
you're
I
with,
will withdraw the application and then resubmit.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Then what's gonna happen, like another public hearing will happen?
we will start all over again.
Now, I would ask you to, when you're done here, to get your guys and book them for next month. And.
Well, it's
another.
And no, it's not even next month. It's a whole new process.
So he has to add, okay.
The realistic thing is
Yeah.
you should probably have your people get together with Jim
Yeah, I mean, we can solve this.
before you're even doing your application to make sure what's on the drawings and what's requested, so that every T and every I is crossed and dotted before you're coming back. At that point, instead of us trying to figure it out, it's a difficult procedure, but we mentioned this to you multiple times.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to, public hearing 610, special permit application for the proposed camp facility for the property located at 308 Guntown Road, applicant not the YMCA. Public hearing open 9/24/25. 7/22/25 unless extension is requested, 65 days extension time use. Okay.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, nice to see everyone. Nice to be out and about. Kevin McSherry, 38 Fairview Avenue, Naugatuck, Connecticut, here on behalf of the North YMCA. Camp property, located off of Rubber Avenue, here in Naugatuck. 70-acre piece that runs from top of Andrew Avenue and a downward trajectory to Rubber Avenue. And it's a beautiful piece of land, part of the Wilmot Holdings. And why it's been in discussions with the Wilmot for a while to bring this forward. With me this evening is our Bethune, Executive Director of the YMCA, Kyle Stewart, Stewart Associates, talk about the technical aspects of it. Historically, the Naugatuck YMCA has always had some sort of camp. Back when I was a kid, there was a Camp Devoka, which was out in Oxford, which we all got to go to camp, and we headed out in buses and did all kinds of things similar to what are being proposed here at this camp. Archery. We didn't have zip lines back in those days. We had BB guns, which is a very dangerous thing. And Freddie Zanino used to have a rock at each foot of my head. There's all kinds of things like that. But we had counselors that took care of us out there. We had some overnights and took swimming lessons in the pond. And that property eventually got sold in the early 70s to Uniroyal. And the camp continued on a couple of configurations in Woodbury, a couple farms. And then eventually, if you notice today, we have camp downtown Naugatuck with all the tents around over on the St. Francis property. And you see the kids go back and forth. We also have a arrangement with the American Legion, where the Legion Halls youth on hot days. So there's a lot of things that go on with the camp. A traditional YMCA camp is what we're looking to do. That includes bringing in kids from schools for activities, having a camp there. The activities the kids will be doing will be team building. We also had, as a YMCA, a long history of dealing with industries and corporations in North after the Second World War. There's always a big industrial complex of stuff going on, and they had all these shows right in the YMCA. Fast forward today, corporations and businesses do work at the Y and do team building and activities at the Y. The camp would be used for things like that as well. We meet the regulation that the regulation that's required is on Schedule 23, Section 23, Schedule A, Part B. We're in our 65 zone. We're required to get a special permit, and we're one of the many things defined in that section. Following uses when conducted as a business, not for profit, churches, places of worship, parish halls, schools, colleges, universities, educational, religious, philanthropic, charitable institutions, membership clubs, lodges, community houses. So we're in that activity. We're a membership organization. The Y has memberships. We also have people that are involved on a daily basis with the Y. These kids that come to camp, many of them have received great amount of financial aid, and they spend their time doing very well as part of the camp and being part of the team building. The organizations that we always deal with are many of the ones that are described in this. Charitable organizations in the town, United Way, organizations like that will continue to be in activity. Knoxville YMCA for many years ran out in Knoxville the activity for businesses where they had competitions with businesses, which was part of team building for the businesses. It was quite an event, and it was out in Knoxville, and the pool was part of the activities. Those sort of activities that are outdoor oriented and activities that Mark can describe a little bit further, kind of give you an idea of what's going to happen up on the property. 70 acre piece, a lot of things can happen, but it's not going to be overwhelmed with activity. It's going to be a beautiful piece of land that's utilized. That every time we talk about it, we learn more about it. We're talking to one of the neighbors, the Warren family tonight. Their son is here, and we talked to him a little bit about some other ideas about developing the property. Tonight, we did hire a traffic engineer. The traffic engineer's report is not ready, so at the end of the evening, we're asked for the public hearing to be continued for another month until October 15th. Quite another month, so late this month, early next month. But we're going to provide as much information as we can. We did receive planning approval. They gave us a positive referral. Fire and police have approved the plan, as well as water pollution control board and wetlands. The property does have a pool on it. And interesting enough, there's many things you do for an outside pool that you don't do for the pool that's inside. Small things like gutter protectors so the animals can get out. Wild animal runs through the woods up there and goes into the pool, they get out and find their way out of the pool. There's also buffers that you put up so that the water doesn't get thrown out of the pool. Spill onto your grass, things like that. So there are things that we discussed with wetlands in order to protect that. So best practice management will continue to do that. Connecticut has a long history of different YMCA camps. Camp Natasha is the closest one in Watertown. That's a celebrate camp. Camp Paisley is a year-round camp. That's over in Chester, Connecticut. That's been around since 1920. So this opportunity for Naugatuck to have a camp for our area fits in well with the area out there. The girl just bought the piece next door to this piece. It's a similar size piece, and the open space areas are all out there that are owned by the borough, are all connected there. So it fits in well. When you talk about the plan of conservation and development, we always look at, there's always an opportunity here to do open space, and that really has fallen a lot on the town. And the opportunity for the Y to do this, and the Y is also seeking grant money. And in our plan, there's a lot of detail in the plan, and if you envision the plan, on a large piece of land, property, it's gonna take time to build it out. And as it gets built out, it's gonna be done properly and correctly, but we have to put forward what we wanna do in order to apply for the grants. And really, it's $12 million to make it happen. Why, of course, being a nonprofit, it's get to survive, getting grant money and donation, so it's all part of what they're gonna do. That all being said, I'm gonna ask Kyle Stoll to give us a little bit of a presentation, so you see how things are going. So,
So my name is Kyle Pasola. I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of Connecticut. Stoll Associates at Mrs. Hodges Street in Homicide. So you guys haven't seen this yet, but this is a fully realistic rendering of the proposed event center. This is basically the main attraction at the top of the hill. The YMCA wants to use a timber frame company and actually make construction of this building a learning experience. They've connected with
the Timber Framers Guild, which is actually a not-for-profit themselves. They're out on the West Coast. The cool thing is they go all around Canada and the Northeast. Oh, my apologies. Mark LaFortune, I'm the CEO of the Naugatuck YMCA. So the Timber Framers Guild, we got a connection with them. You know, the biggest reason we want to go this route is we don't want to just go up there and drop an ugly trestle or a truss roof structure with metal sides and make it look like kind of like an industrial piece. We want to really bring kind of the landscape to life and stay close to nature up there. So the Timber Framers Guild, we've already been in contacts with them, and they actually have to choose the YMCA to be a project of theirs, which we don't have the agreement 100% yet, but we have kind of the unwritten word that this is a project they're very interested in doing. So they would come and they would actually bring the community in. They would work with local technical high schools to bring a lot of the students in during the build of this project. We fund it and they come in. They actually can use some of the timber on the property. The hard part about that is we're actually not doing a lot of cutting down of trees up there because the great thing is the farmland up on top is where we're going to be developing this lodge and so on and so forth. So it's really cool to work with another not-for-profit and really bring something that really fits with the land and the landscape.
So, in going with that theme of making sure that we involved in taking care of the space and the surrounding community, we brought the great lengths to really ensure that this development maintains the environmental sanctity of the existing property. With the least fancy thing here, the sanitary sewer system. We are proposing a connection, no septic systems on the site. So we are proposing a connection to the existing sanitary sewer on Brighton Road. We do, I'm sure Kevin will get into details for any questions about this, but there is an existing easement here for what was supposed to be a proposed residential development, actually extension of this cul-de-sac. If we're going that, all we're asking for is a trench for the sanitary sewer system to connect the existing sanitary and Old Brighton Road, and also bring our electrical services in there as well.
So let me just understand that you have an easement already.
it needs to be finalized because we need to get the drawing after exactly where it's going.
But there was a previous easement.
That's correct, yeah. On record, there's two properties here at the end of Brighton Road, where a portion of the property, Kevin would be the one to ask the details for this. But there was a proposed plan to extend this cul-de-sac into a new residential development on this property. Again, we're going by the road itself in hopes that we can get just 2 trenches to put in where our sanitary sewer and our electrical service can run to.
And this was all discussed with WPCA.
Right.
Through your group.
In the approval process, originally when we went to WPCA, they saw the original subdivision map, which was done in 1983, 1984. The original subdivision map had a 50-foot right-of-way going through the two properties that are at the edge of the cul-de-sac. And it would take up 25 feet from one piece, 25 feet from the other piece. We went to WPCA, they said, oh, build the road and move the cul-de-sac back. Well, that really doesn't make sense because you'd be disturbing these people's properties. So we went back when WPCA said, get an easement to run the, extend the line onto the property, don't disturb the people's 25 feet. Now, originally when that subdivision was built, it was built as an open space subdivision. And it came on 2 reiterations to the planning commission. And in the second reiteration, it had that extension to go through, because the idea was that eventually that 70-acre piece would be developed by somebody, and the roadway would be able to go through it. Because of why it's doing it, and what we're proposing is not, a subdivision, we don't need to run a roadway in that way. And you just, the easement for the sanitary sources and lots of lots separate. So we kind of eliminate a bigger problem for those people at the end of the cul-de-sac. If someone came in to develop the piece as a subdivision, for instance, there would be a roadway.
So this was discussed with us prior, but I wanted to make sure you understood.
So moving on to the stormwater system. Again, we're great things to maintain the environmental condition of the site. And in accordance with that, following the Connecticut Stormwater Manual, we are implementing low impact development techniques to control stormwater. We're doing that in 3 ways. The first is the smaller areas, more disconnected areas where we are adding impervious area to the site. We each one's going to get a dedicated rain garden, which is essentially a biofiltration trench. Stormwater runoff will go into these trenches, be filtered through selected plantings, and go into basically essentially a dry well system where we reabsorb the groundwater. The second is a more typical wet detention pond. This will have a couple sediment days in it, where the sediment out before it potentially is discharged. The reason it's called a wet detention pond is because the outlets from it are above the water line. There's moving down. These are designed to not let stormwater out until stormwater reaches 12 inches in depth. And then from there, there's 2 outlets before the emergency overflow outlet. Lets out any stormwater from the really, really heavy rain. According to the calculations I used, none of the detention systems utilize the emergency overflow we provided up to a 100-year storm. So a 100-year storm would be able to be contained by the various detention systems we have. Third and final low impact development technique we're utilizing is wet micro detention ponds, along with 4-foot grass buffer. These are all along the roadway. Based on the existing topography and ground cover and soil type of the site, using the general rule to do this layout, we estimate that there's about, for every 10 square foot of impervious area we're installing the property, we need about 2.5 square feet of detention system. This is a 3-foot deep detention system with 2 outlets and emergency overflow. So that's being provided all along the roadway. The big upshot of all this is that we are minimizing point source discharges to help prevent flooding. We're keeping all the water on the site. You notice there's no stormwater connections to any existing stormwater infrastructure on Miller Avenue. The site as it stands right now is doing a pretty good job of its forced meta of reabsorbing and putting that stormwater to ground discharging to the natural rivers and brooks that are in the area. The idea is that the pre-treatment techniques and the low impact development techniques that we've installed here will keep that stormwater at or below the flow of discharge that we're currently at right now, along with being able to treat the stormwater appropriately. There's also a couple wetlands in the property. We received approval from the Wetlands and Water Courses Commission. Again, we took great pains to stay out of these open review areas. I think the only area where we are crossing into it is this slight bend in the roadway down here. That concludes the technical aspects of
So I'm gonna hand out to you after I put together the packet for you guys, I did get Jim's review. And I believe Kyle still, I don't think you responded yet.
We haven't responded to the review yet. We are,
We'll get it for next month, but you take one and pass it on. This is the review that Jim did. And we can discuss it more next month.
yeah, the big chunk of that work was, addressing topography. There's 3,500 linear feet of roadway, and all that has to be detailed down to 2 foot. So we are nearly complete with that. And there's also comment that was looking at the traffic study, which Mr. Sherry said we are.
And as we stated, all the other commissions we've received, police, fire, WPCA, wetlands, their reviews are all done and their approvals are done. Again, we're gonna continue this for the month. I have a quick question. So the building that you're showing there will fit into the footprint that you were showing on the site plan?
Yeah.
The event building? Okay.
Yeah, there's 3 main structures for the site. We have the event center that's covered up in the rendering. This is the event center. It's the main focus of the site is where most of the activities that aren't part of the other events take place. 2 stories. Not 2 stories. Main floor plan and the loft. Second building is it's called the bunkhouse, and there are bedrooms here. However, it's not used by campers. It's not a camp. Purpose for this is for staff development. YMCA can have various staff events here, team building activities, and such.
Next too, we want to make sure that this property is offered to our community and local business and all that kind of stuff. So as far as like that, people can use it during the day for retreats and so on and so forth. So we want to make sure that we're not just, we're not going up there doing this and just keeping it to be just for us. We're trying to stick close to community and all that good stuff. So we're calling it Foxcliff Summer Camp and Outdoor Family Center so that we can have families in our area be able to utilize the property. Yes, we are bound by licensing when summer camp is happening. We're not going to be able to allow access on the property because of our summer campers, keeping them safe and all that stuff. But outside of that, on the weekends, we do have a big commitment, and we do it down at the Y here of family events that don't cost anything for the people and families in the community, which we're going to use this property to as well. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about those things ahead of time.
And the last major structure, again, the second other is a caretaker residence. This is located about halfway up the driveway. This is a residence. Intended to have a caretaker live here, oversee things going on in the property. And again, we generally use space for that for the life. These 3 main structures, the rest of the buildings on the site are things such as archery ranges, theaters, playgrounds, etc. A couple small pavilions for nature walks and camp activities.
One of the original thoughts on the pavilion was we were talking with Mayor Heston. The Mission 22 trail actually used to run through this property, which I believe is still the course which they're taking this weekend. One of the biggest things is when they readjust that Mission 22, we want to put a pavilion right there on the property, almost as a drop-off for hikers that are coming through that can utilize the pavilion, a water fountain, small things like that. Likely we won't have bathrooms and whatnot in that area to be open, but the ability for people to take a rest and stuff like that. We want to work closely with the borough to allow those types of things.
Okay. Commissioners, anything? No, sir. Sounds all right.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Is it similar to Camp Natasha?
I'll say yes, very similar. The one big thing that we don't have is the lake, which is the reason why we want to look to put a pool. And to Mr. McSherry's point of us making sure that we're doing best practice and all of that, to not only protect the property from tick to wildlife and all that stuff that use it. The pool wouldn't be open just, at any times. We would always have lifeguards on duty during the time that it is open. Part of that family aspect is we want to open it on the weekends for our membership to be able to utilize that. Again, we'll have family events that wouldn't be need a membership and have that cost and whatnot. And to keep in mind that this is all about the upper paddock, which is about 300 yards from the road, well away from the road itself. So.
Any comment from the public? State your name and address.
Sure, Andrew Buckus, I live in 167 Andrew Ave. I like it, I think it's good. My parents have property close to here. My only concern is water. So I guess put 5 wells in. But all the residents in that area are on wells. I don't think there's any city water. I think it might end at the bridge on the road where Rover's property. But so just concerned with that. I don't know how you're thinking of addressing that. I know it's not an overnight camp, but up to 300 kids using the restrooms throughout the country day. We've had water issues, especially on dry summers like we've had now, where wells go dry. So I don't know if there's any plans to, if the town's concerned about that, other residents. So that's just one of my concerns. That's my folks live just less than a quarter mile away from there. And I do know that, I believe the town, anytime they want to do a subdivision, and we want to do a subdivision, there has to be city water available. At least that was the last. I own 12 acres up on the mountain, and it was subdivided in the past prior to my ownership. And it got denied because there's no city water. So I like it. I think it's good. I think it's great. But I have some serious concerns about the water usage. So I just want to state that as a concern. So thank you. Yep.
Just gonna sit over here so I can be in the middle. I have a whole bunch of questions. It's a very interesting concept. My son's Boy Scout, but the whole
State, you need to be at the,
Oh,
stand up, state your name, address.
Sabine Wargo Grafe, 1060 Rubber Avenue. Right next door. Nice low impact proposal from what I can see. It's kind of in its early phases of development. Traditional YMCA camp. I'm just curious with the density, what kind of
You have to address your comments to the chair.
oh, pardon me, what are we looking at for like a daily attendance? Standard maximum? Is there one? That's what I was gonna talk to.
Well, they can answer your questions, any questions.
Why don't you do all your questions? You guys.
And you'll,
If you guys,
You can answer them either,
I have no problem. We're not trying to hide anything.
Of course.
We're completely
But
transparent.
the process is that she would ask questions, you write them down, then you can answer them.
Understood.
okay, so I'll just go through the list. So curious about the density. It seems like, it's, not gonna be an overnight day camp except for certain things for development inside the YMCA itself. I'm curious about the seasonality. Is this year round? Or is this strictly, May to September, whatever standard camp times are? I noticed about 100, I had a chance to briefly review the plans. There's about 140 plus minus parking spaces. Curious if they're busing in. You're servicing not just Nautical, but you're servicing state, national, I mean, how far does it go?
Oh,
Sorry, too many questions, yeah. I should follow the rules myself, sorry about that. The drainage structures, this is more for the engineer. I'm a landscape architect, do a lot of these pools and rain gardens. I've never seen structures like this before. It's very interesting with is it 10 or 50 or 100 feet? There's these rain gardens proposed with what looks like a stone barrier in between, sort of like a dam, should they overflow. Curious about the functionality of the whole thing, I've never seen it before. And also, slight concern, we're dealing with definitely more than 300 linear feet of roadway, if I heard that correctly.
3,000.
3,000, that's okay, that makes more sense. And I'm wondering, if that can accommodate for all that water and the overflow when it does occur. Because unfortunately, we're having a lot more of these more than 100-year storms, if that is going to be able to be, taken in by the street drainage without difficulty. Camp Natasha, very interesting. Oh, since you're having a pool on site, will you have to, or will you be fencing in the entire site? Will it have a pool cover, automatic, what have you? I know you're talking about preserving wildlife or preventing wildlife from getting in. That's very interesting. Again, I was wondering about the limitations on the density. Just about the roadway. Oh, and then since you had the option to go through Brighton, since I live next door, it's pretty steep. That whole property is significantly, I don't know what the grade is exactly, but I was looking at the grades on there. It's pretty intense. Wouldn't it be easier to go through Brighton to access the site? Just curious. Which storm event, the 100-year, you made that clear. The micro detention ponds, very curious to know more about that. And the heavy storm anyway. So it looks fine. And also, I noticed parking for hikers, which is cool. I hike a lot myself. Is that something that will be in use yearly, and if you're accommodating for hikers to park there? And also the family events for non-members, we get a little more clarification on that. Is this just going to be like buildings for hire, anyone can use it, and if that's also seasonal or if it's year round? I think that pretty much. It's a lot. Sorry, I hope you're over it. Ask again if you need any more clarification.
So just before the next person speaks, so that people understand the process, the public will make their comments and make their questions. Attorney McSherry is writing things down. The applicant will then respond, usually either after or potentially sometimes the next meeting, because they might need to get some information. So it's not a question and answer period, but it's more or less you make your comments. People that are on Zoom, you will be given the time to speak. We do not read your questions that you write, so we will give you the chance. But again, you will ask your comments, make your questions, and then the applicant will have the ability to respond to them at the end. That's how the process goes.
We're going Buddy property. I only have one.
And the address?
1058 Rubber Avenue. Soon to be 1054 Rubber Avenue. Thinking about that. The only thing is that I would like to see an exploratory in entering this entire thing from Andrew Avenue, not Rubber Avenue. For a couple of reasons, I think it's going to be a big benefit to the development itself. Access way, I don't see. Andrew Mountain Road used to be an old riprap, but it's been modernized since. I don't see a big deal with coming in from that side. And I think it would make things a lot easier. I know there are other properties up there and they'll be affected by it in a different way. So I can't imagine that those property owners would be especially excited about that. But in the event that it makes more sense, I think at least an exploratory would be in order. That's it.
Okay. Any other comments from the public?
We have to finish off the whole family. Alec Wargo, 1058 Rubber Avenue. The one big issue, it'd be nice if nobody did anything that it's understood something's been happening. But the one major problem with all of that property, including room, is floodplain. There's been 3,000 volts developed close there. And we're not too far, not so distant past. And just about all failed because when we got into the nitty-gritty of what do you do with all this water, it's not viable. It starts at the top and the water comes down. And where does it go? Well, we can dump it into Long Meadow Brook. Everybody does that. But, you know, there's more water in that mountain than whatever there's ever been in its whole life at Long Meadow Brook. You can flood it downtown with it if you want. But, that's what you got. It's a nature problem. It's the way it is. And to try and deal with it is a gigantic problem. Yes, you can detour it this way, that way, or the other way. But what it does is you take it from your property and you run on yours. Yours not right. So let's turn it the other way. And go over there with the his. And it doesn't work. It's a disaster. Trying to do it all, as far as the basic item that you want to do, I don't have any reasons to do. If you wanted to do it with 5,000 kids, that wouldn't be very good. But if you cut it down to reasonable size, it's a good thing. But with issues, like for instance, there's one little part I saw on extension from the place. Down near the bottom of the park. They were in the Pittsburghs. Next door to that. Then around you have a kids place right on Rubber Avenue. It's not the brightest thing in the world to do. Especially especially young kids. The other thing is the area you're planning to live in has been historically swamp. Because that's where the water goes. The town has collection pool. They have rock, they have things. And that's what it does, it tries to collect all the water. But there's too much. But if you look at the top.
Alex, is there any other things that you're concerned about besides the flooding?
That's the primary.
Okay.
But
Do you have anything else?
yes, you have to look at it not just for developing that portion of it. You don't want to develop for the YMCA, the kids is a great thing. However, be careful you don't create, like every developer is on the town, land use property limits. Put as many things as you can possibly put on there. And you make a disaster out of everything. Not you, you understand what I'm doing. You can do it, and you keep it under control, and don't put it in everybody's backyard, and so on and so forth. It can be made to work. But if you try too hard, the last three developers that got approvals, all over the end, when they came out there really through of building it, it's too much.
Do you have anything else, Alex?
But one, I'm sure I'll have it.
We'll see you at the next meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
And some of the plans and so forth, are they accessible for the public?
Yes,
Absolutely.
always are.
Okay.
They're online, they're available.
Okay, I forgot one thing.
Really quick. This is pertaining to just what he's talking about, but it's very straightforward. But right now, it all ends up where you all know it ends up because the town was involved in actually creating that catch at the bottom of that property. It actually abuts our property there. And there's a substantial amount of water down there to the point where we had to actually engineer something, which you're all familiar with, to catch it. So, when it comes time to direct the water, some of that water, quite a bit of that water actually passes through our property before it passes back out to there. That's his concern. That's our concern as well. So.
Sorry, this is another
We're
technical.
gonna have other people have their turns to speak.
Oh, I'm
We have
sorry.
people on Zoom, we have maybe some other people here.
It's a very simple, as a technical question, I just wanted to ask about this information.
Hello, Brian Dowling, Naugatuck resident, 1376 Rubber Ave. As a homeowner in the area, I'm surprised I just heard about this. Found out on Facebook from someone sharing on the Naugatuck page. I feel due to the drastic road use changes that this development will cause in the area, it's only fair for people in the immediate area to be notified of these plans.
People that were within 500 or 200
feet,
200 feet of that property are required to get a direct notice by state statute. That was done
Of the
to have
entrance or?
of the property.
Okay.
So that's the state requirement. And then it was publicly noticed in the paper twice.
I work.
I understand what you're saying. People weren't, there was been an articles in the paper that you guys have done. So it's been put out there.
Okay. I would like to request if possible, we extend the public hearing period. I don't know if that's a possibility. I don't know how these things work, but I'd like to get neighbors' opinions on the project and how it's going to affect the neighborhood. Some of the details are still unclear about, is there going to be overhead lighting, amplified sound? We're going to have nighttime activities for the weekend. It's public use, private use during the week, seasonal. We should have those details today.
Yeah, they're gonna be coming back next month.
Okay, so this is an ongoing public hearing?
Say that again?
The public hearing period is an ongoing thing throughout the development?
Until we close.
There are
I don't know how
time,
these things work.
there are time limits.
Okay,
So the commission has certain time limits that they must go by. And then applicants can request extensions, things like that. So it's,
sure, yeah, I think it's a great idea to have something like that, I just worry that, it's gonna have external conditions placed on people's houses, so. That's it for my.
Okay, thank you. You wanna open the Zoom ones?
Yeah, ready? Frederick, you're allowed to speak.
Hi, good evening. My name is actually Christina Gordon. I apologize, it's coming up as my employer's name. I currently reside at 1131 Rubber Ave with my son and my husband. We've been residents of Naugatuck for about 6 years now. In a few minutes, I'd be more than happy to share my screen if I could in a few moments, but our home is immediately across the street from the subject property and its proposed single point of entry. We bought our property 6 years ago. One of the things that we found most desirable about it was the private, very residential, peaceful, bucolic nature of the neighborhood. I believe that this application needs to be thought about very carefully, how respective of it will impact the immediate neighborhood, and as best we can, not just exclusively about the potential benefits to the overall community. I myself am a member of the Y. I'm a mother. I fully appreciate the benefits to our youth that such a camp and family center will offer. But the intensity of this use really needs to be closely considered and regulated as a commercial development, because that's exactly what it is, respective of how it's going to impact the surrounding properties. A lot of the questions that I had have already been voiced in terms of the additional use beyond the campers. I think that the YMCA representatives have vocalized, that they have optimistic attendance of up to 300 campers. And then there is that 6,000 square foot event center that, in news articles and on record has been offered as, private event space and weddings and things of that nature. So there's much more than just seasonal camper usage being proposed. I think they mentioned off hours or weekend use open to YMCA members and family events and that sort of thing. So I think just a very clear, definition of the intensity of the use, the users, the seasonality of it, the hours of operation are all going to be very important to parties like myself that are kind of immediately going to be impacted by the use. One question I do have about, I think, the private event space, respective of, I say, weddings or the like, is my understanding is in the R65 zone, sale and commercial consumption or sale of alcohol is prohibited. So I'm curious about that, or maybe the commission can confirm that, and then the applicant can affirm intent respective of that. Again, this is an R65 zone surrounded by R30, both of which are, per definition, to serve single-family homes. So as the applicant has stated, they require special permit approval for this use. Again, this is a commercial use, both in its intensity, scale of development, the impacts to the neighborhood, the environment, all within a residential zone. I really ask the commission to impose upon the applicant conditions of approval that will protect us and the bucolic nature of our neighborhood, the existing residents, and our property values, such that would be required of any commercial use buffering, or excuse me, abutting residential zones. Sections 33.5, 33.7, 33.8 all define safeguards and conditions of approval, such as to limit scale, intensity, size, number of occupants, operation times. Things I would recommend or ask for are requiring dark sky compliant lighting to limit light pollution, prohibiting amplified sound, requiring sound and visual buffers and additional setbacks between the subject property and the abutting residences, screening landscaped areas between parking areas and these areas of usage, ensuring the drainage is managed on property, water quality units. I'm glad to hear that a traffic study is being prepared. I'm really interested to read the results of that. I am concerned about the volume of traffic, even if it's just in concentrated periods of time, such as pickup and drop off of said 300 campers. I don't know that Rubber Avenue can handle that level of concentrated volume. So I'm really interested to see the results of that traffic study. The current plans don't show lighting, site lighting plans or landscaping plans, both of which are integral to really weighing the impacts of this development. If I could have screens sharing permission, I would like to share. Is that something up? Yes, okay.
We have to promote you to a panelist, I
Oh,
believe.
right. Promotion granted. Thank
You would have to.
We can see it.
Yeah, I think you're muted.
If you're
Oh, okay. Sorry, it muted me. I apologize. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, wonderful. So I am a commercial architect by trade. I brought in the applicant's site plan to add the context at scale of my residence, which you can see here in blue. Whether deliberate or not, the fact is that all of the abutting residential properties were omitted from the context of the site plan, which again, I think isn't really depicting the full picture. So for context, my residence is at 1131, as I mentioned. The proposed single point of entry is just over 104 feet from my driveway, edge to edge, 34 feet from my property line. I just want to bring the commission's attention. There's also a guard shack or security booth shown. And, really optimistically, if this is meant to check all vehicles entering in the site sort of during normal operations, maybe you can fit 9 cars in queue on site. And after that, they're going to start spilling out into Rubber Avenue in front of my house. 300 cars, 300 campers. That's a lot of vehicles. The other thing I just want to express concerns over, there is a public parking lot, pavilion, restrooms, playscape proposed. All things I think are wonderful. Again, I'm a mother These are wonderful amenities to add. However, the actual playscape is only 261 feet from my house, 166 feet from my property line, when the applicant has 65 plus acres in which these amenities can be located. I find that to be, dare I say, insensitive to the proximity of the existing residents on the street. There is a caretaker quarters proposed that's buried within the site. If these two things were inverted and the caretaker's structure were brought closer to the site, it would be much more aligned with the character of the neighborhood. I too wonder if any other points of entry have been studied. I know that the town owns acreage fronting Guntown Road and adjacent parcels as part of this subdivision through easements, through other means. I know the town is very supportive of this endeavor. There could be other points of access or additional points of access that would allow reduction in intensity to any one single point of entry and exit. I think the other comments of the grading that has to be traversed from Rubber Avenue to get to the primary function area is over 260 feet. We are at elevation 400 plus or minus at Rubber Ave, and they must traverse all the way up to 660, 670. So that's an incredible elevation to be traversing. Devoid of any development at all, last August, as we all know, Naugatuck and the Valley saw incredible flood events. I observed during that rain event, this hill becoming a waterfall and spilling out into, let's see if I can show sort of an aerial image. There's an existing gravel curb cut, we'll call it, that the current owners use, and I've even seen Naugatuck DPW using to access the property. The water was just pouring out of there at an incredible volume into the existing catch basin, and Rubber Avenue itself became a river. It was unable to handle the volume, and that's devoid of any development there whatsoever. Let me just see if I have any other comments. I think I've touched upon all of my major concerns. I hope the commission and the applicant both understand my concerns as the immediate abutter. And I hope that they take into consideration what I've expressed. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jacqueline?
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Rankin, and I live on 34 Brighton Road. So we're all the way at the top of the cul-de-sac where there is an easement, and they're talking about putting the trenches there. We've lived in our home for 12 years now. We have 3 children, my husband and I, and we live on an amazing road. It's quiet, it's serene, it's peaceful, it's a safe place for all the neighborhood kids to go out and play. We're very concerned about that small easement there. A trench does sound better than an access road, from what some people are mentioning. We're concerned about the safety of our kids in our neighborhood, and also sorry, my husband, and also the amount of traffic coming through our road. Like the previous person said, that there could be, up to 300 cars picking up on a small, quiet road. Also, our concern is that the water and the rain, we've had our basement redone twice because of flooding. We've had to put in our own trenches in our yard because of the water coming down from the mountain. So we're very concerned about the digging and the disturbing of the environment around us and how that's going to affect our home. We're also concerned about the noise level, and having any type of buffers in our backyard between the driveway going up to the area, and also with the area where they said that they can have possible events, like an event space. How late at night will these events be happening? And will there be alcohol and people drinking and people loud and screaming? And are we going to hear that in our backyard? What else? What else did we have?
Water.
And we said the water.
Oh, well,
Yeah. Okay, that was it. That's it for us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Andrea, you're up next.
Hi, my name is Andrea Carvalho, and I am on 28 Brighton Road. We've been here about 3 years. Also have a soon-to-be 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. I'm just going to echo all the same concerns from the previous two speakers. So Jacqueline's actually my neighbor. We're concerned with the privacy, with the noise, with the lights, the light pollution, as mentioned previously. The easement, yes, for sure. The flooding is definitely an issue, as we've seen in Naugatuck and, you know, around our area. It's a big concern. And like Jacqueline said previously, it's a very quiet road. Our kids play out in the street. The neighborhood kids come up and play on the cul-de-sac. That's what a cul-de-sac is meant to be. It's a great idea. I love the idea, but we're also concerned with in our backyard where, you know, it's private. There's nothing behind us. There's nothing behind practically any of our neighbors. Is this going to be right behind us? Is it going to be loud? We have some genuine concerns, and, you know, we like the idea, just not right here.
Thank you.
Is that everybody on Zoom?
You suck.
One final question, if I may. The mapping showed some grades. We just went through a lot of grading survey. We just had our property survey, is what I'm trying to say. I noticed that they had grades going on to our property. Wondering if those are old survey lines, if the base mapping is up to date. Just curious as to where they got that base map information from. And I did have one other further question. I believe I have it here anymore. The grading was the primary concern, wondering where the base map information came from, if it's solid and up to date. And oh yes, as Christina mentioned, I didn't even get this far into it, but generally there will be landscape plans and stormwater management plans. So with stormwater management documentation is always like a page and a half.
You can address the
Didn't see a whole lot of stormwater management documentation in what I saw online. Again, I only had a moment to briefly review things. Just want to make sure that that's all accommodated for, because usually they're about 100 pages. It seems pretty minor what I saw there. Yes, I believe that's it.
Is there anyone else from the public that wants to make a comment?
This is the stormwater.
Oh, that's again. That was not online. Okay.
So we're going to continue the public hearing till next month.
Just,
You want to respond to?
Just briefly, you know, I think many of the points we'll consider addressing next meeting as well. And we have concerns about the water. Obviously, we're going to be on the site and want to make sure the water is controlled. The stormwater report, which is 176 pages, it's lengthy and detailed, and it is available for review. As a special exception, the commission has the ability to put conditions on how we operate, how we're going to do things. And between now and the next meeting, we'll come in with a proposal as far as timing of things. Our idea is not running a venue there with speakers, etc. Our idea is run a camp there. And where Brighton Road is in Coventry Lane, they're at the bottom of the hill. Everything is being built up at the top of the hill. And that's where most of the activity is going to be taking place for the traffic going through. So we'll come back and address these issues in detail in the next public hearing. I think that's a little bit easier way to do it. And we appreciate folks' comments, and we appreciate also the commission's questions.
We can provide you the video. Yes. So that you'll be able to get everything, make sure. I know it's tough to write everything down, but we can provide you the video so you can watch to make sure what you're doing. And for many people, it's the first time they've dealt with this type of a process. This is how projects work forward, and we find things to change, and projects change a little bit over time, so understanding that.
And so we want to continue, what's the time?
We continue to 6:05 next month.
All right, what's our,
6:05 p.m., October 15th.
All right, so we're gonna continue the public hearing to 6:05 on October 15th. All right, okay, we're good. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll see you next month. Too low, business.
Yes.
All business C. Discussion for soil and erosion site plan for the property located at 402 Hillside Avenue, applicant.
Finley 402 Hillside Avenue. Third time trying to get a site plan approved.
So, Mr. Finley has dropped off to us a site plan. He met the timelines that, as you know, we are currently in court, Mr. Finley, and he did meet his timeline to get this to us. Jim Stewart did do a review. We provided it to Mr. Finley. In regard to some of the things on that, I will let Jim speak to that. But before we do, I did have one question for you. You did tell me I'd go to your property and I took a look at some of the things. I noticed on your driveway, the wall has been removed. Was there a reason why that?
I pushed the wall back further towards, I would say, the north side of the property. The wall was relocated.
But you've got open, when I was there was open dirt. I'm talking about the wall along the driveway here goes up to your garage.
Yes.
So when I was out there yesterday, all that existing wall that you have on the plan here is all gone. It was just open to dirt. Was there a reason why you removed that? You're saying because you're relocating that wall?
I relocated that wall, so that is I moved the wall back further into the back. Yes.
When did you do that?
I did that, I would say that was done 2 months ago.
So that part of that section of the wall where it says existing wall in your print isn't there?
Isn't there? No.
It was the first time that I noticed that it wasn't there.
It's not.
That it's not there.
Do you have any other plans, expectations we're not gonna be following this plan?
As of right now, no.
You gonna tell us if you have any changes?
As of right now, no.
You're not gonna tell us?
No.
But you're not gonna tell me if you have a change.
You don't have any changes.
But you're gonna.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna have a change, you're gonna tell us, correct?
As of right now, there is no changes.
Well, there was a change to this wall. Because it's on your plan, it says you have an existing wall, and I'm telling you, the wall's not there. You have dirt. So I'm just.
All right, so correct myself, the wall needs to be continued.
Rebuilt.
You need to follow your plan, or if you want a different plan, you need to submit a plan that you're actually gonna do.
Well, you asked me if there was gonna be any changes. I said, no, the walls are on there, and the wall's gonna go up. Change.
So the wall's gonna be where it's shown.
Absolutely.
But I did see you have the silt fencing in the areas behind your house in those 2 areas there. And you're proposing to put in all the riprap on those 2 areas there.
Yeah.
It looked like to me over where you have the existing dirt driveway on the other side.
Yes.
It looks like you've put down, I won't call it, I know it's a mulcher, isn't it?
The mulch,
It's a mulch that's in there.
like the wood chips.
Yeah, that's what, it's wood chips.
Yes.
That's in that. Now, what, is that your intention, is to just keep that wood chipped?
Correct.
Because I know you had stated that you need that for access up to the back.
Correct. And as it says in the site plan, that it will be an access until the work is completed in the back.
And then you're gonna grade it over this. Like it's shown on the plan.
Because as it's shown on the plan, it will be level and flat, meaning
Like it's shown
that it
on the
won't be
plan.
gullied in, like it is now.
Oh, I reviewed the plan, they made the changes that I requested, so, any more issues with it?
The, we put in a couple of conditions of that a set an erosion control bond of $5,000 be done. And that a property access agreement be given to the borough by the property in the event that there are any failures of the erosion control plan that are not resolved in a reasonable time. Those were the two recommendations that our borough engineer did make.
Commissioner, no, sir.
As far as your conditions, I am not putting up a bond on the soil erosion. And as far as an easement.
No, not an easement.
But what you need to put
An agreement.
an agreement of that it's gonna be completed? Is that what you're looking for?
No, it was a, with the bond, okay, if there's a failure, and you don't respond, it gives us the right to go in there and fix it while the project is going on.
Well, I'm not gonna agree with it, so if you wanna vote on it, you can vote on it, but I am not putting it on.
So Ned, what's the ruling behind the bond?
What's the existing, is there an existing bond?
No.
And the applicant's there for what? Is it a cease and correct? What's the underlying reason why the applicant's?
It's basically a yes.
What was it?
It's to correct the soil and erosion control plan to correct the issues that are around the property.
All right, so the commission has the right to set appropriate conditions and standards to ensure compliance. And one of them would be a bond. It could be a bond. That's up to the commission. That's one of the that's one of the methods of securing compliance. The other is to condition the approval with either some compliance standards. I don't know exactly where you are in it sounds like Jim is pretty much satisfied with, it sounds like with maybe one matter on the map that has to be clarified. That's what sounds to me from the conversation. But yes, have a set a bond if it wishes to ensure compliance.
And Ned, do you have any issue with a access agreement to the town?
Well, I mean, I think the access, if there's an access, it is the purpose of the access to ensure compliance.
Exactly. So we pulling a bond does nothing if we can't go in there and fix it. Is the issue.
Yeah. So, but that should be a temporary. So that the bond secured, a bond may be required, and any temporary access for the purpose of providing the inspections for the borough to ensure compliance with the conditions.
So let me ask you this. We are in a court proceeding with Mr. Finley on this project. Part of the requirements by the judge was to come and get an approval of the soil and erosion control plan by this meeting. That's one of the things the judge ordered, that Mr. Finley is attempting to do. He has every right potentially to disagree with some of the things that we're putting in our approval. And I believe we have to go back to court anyway. If he were to bring that up to the judge saying he felt that that might have been unfair by the commission, is that something the judge can state that he agreed with? And that is an avenue?
Let me say this here. First of all, the borough has counsel for that case. Is that it?
Yes.
Who is representing the borough in that case?
Attorney Pillacy.
That is more properly addressed to Attorney Pillacy, but my guess is his answer would be that you wouldn't know until you get there. But I could address that to Attorney Pillacy. I'm not familiar with the order. I mean, I'm familiar with the process, but if the judge has set some deadlines by which certain steps should be accomplished, when those steps should be accomplished, and if there are conditions that are set that the court feels that are maybe inappropriate, then that would be up to the court to decide. But I think it's important on the commission's behalf that the commission, there be some type of decision or agreement set forth with regard to this in order to comply with the court's order.
Which I agree with. I think we would, since we've stated that we agree with the plan.
Are reasonable so far that I've heard. The conditions about maybe a bond and certainly some access to ensure compliance with the requirements. I don't think that, to me, is very reasonable. It's certainly within the scope of power of the commission. But that's something that hopefully the parties can agree on, so that when it goes back to court, it goes back to court as an agreement. And then the judge will say, okay, everybody just proceed and get it done.
So what's your take on the bond? I have no idea. How much would it take? What's $5,000?
I mean, you put that up in case something goes wrong, and if it doesn't go wrong, you get some money back.
Yeah, well, he says, according to the schedule, he's done in under 30 days, so he would get the money back next month. That's,
when are you going to court? Next month?
I don't remember the exact date.
Commissioner, I'd just like to say, though, the last time we were in court, it was pretty strict that the judge said that I need to do X, Y, and Z.
You can do this work.
Or I'm getting fined $100 a day.
Okay.
So again, I need to do what the 5 things that the judge says, which is a court order.
Which I have the court order here.
Yeah, which I did.
I think you are meeting the court order.
Correct.
We are putting a potential condition.
Correct, and that's what I'm arguing.
You're right. You have an opinion one way, we have an opinion another way. It doesn't mean that we're not granting you.
Well, let me interrupt for just 1 second, Mr. Chairman, if I may. Let me interrupt. So, because I'm not counsel in the case, there is a court order requiring that the property owner meet certain conditions by a certain date. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
All right. So that's the scope of the order. If the purpose of these sessions is to ensure that there's compliance with the order, did the order include reference to any type of security, like a bond, a cash bond, or some type of a property bond?
No, that's what I'm saying. It does not reference that.
Certainly we don't want to do something beyond the scope of what the judge has ordered. I would think that if you're going, I didn't hear when the next court date is.
I don't have it off the top of my head.
But is both sides here? Is it likely that these conditions or compliance will be met within the next month?
That's a question for the applicant.
Yes.
What's the answer?
He said yes.
Well, I mean, Jim, is it feasible that these conditions will be, can be complied with in a month? I mean, is it, are there, I don't know what they are, what conditions are.
It's gonna be, I mean, if he gets going or starts working on it and he gets it done, yes. Being this time of year, you know, I mean, you're not gonna get grass growing too. This is coming to the end of time where you're gonna throw seed down, it's gonna even grow before winter. So yes and no, you know, we might be waiting till spring to really stabilize the area. Because I mean, if he's gonna go up there, build all this stuff and keep the road open, I don't know, it depends on his schedule.
Again, it is, most of the grass was seeded 2-3 weeks ago before we went to court, correct? The grass is established in the front. It's the rear of the house that is, I'm gonna say, a piece of property that's maybe 50 by 60 that isn't established. That's what we're talking about. That's all it is. It's behind the house. It's not in front of the house. If it washes out, it goes to the house or whatever, but that's what we're trying to catch in our swales back there. I mean, and as far as why do we have hay? Why do we have wood chips? We can use something else instead of grass. If you don't need grass in your house, you can use something else as landscaping. Everybody knows it. And again, it's behind the house.
So Ned, I will just read a section here of the court order where it says, submit a sediment and erosion control plan to the zoning commission in sufficient time for the commission to consider it at its meeting on 9/24/25. The sediment and erosion control plan, which is submitted, must comply with all applicable regulations and with the requirements of the town engineer, including the requirements specified in the plaintiff's exhibit 15. Now, I don't quite remember what your exhibit 15 was. Well, I'm assuming that's the soil erosion plan. So again, we're just simply now talking about the agreement and the $5,000 bond.
Is that it? That was the only?
That's.
Well, what did it talk about the $100 a day?
The $100 a day was based on if he did not come to this meeting.
Okay, so it doesn't have any other requirements?
No. It just says within, you know, it gave,
I believe there was some.
well, the other things were install the silt fencing, ensure the catch basin at the back of the property remains on an ongoing basis free of debris. Those things we were saying have been done. With, you know, within 1 week of the date of that order, that was by 9/3, you did the stuff that was supposed to be done. You know, so I read through the things and I have my dates here of when they were supposed to be done. And then it stated at the end, starting on September 24th, 2025, the court will require the defendant to pay the plaintiff a fine of $100 per day for any day thereafter that the foregoing orders are not complied with. So these orders are about coming here for the approval.
Ed, in your opinion, so has the applicant complied with the court order as of today?
He has presented to the commission and he's installed the silt fencing and sediment erosion control things that were required. So we have said that, yes, he's done that.
Okay, so the bond, the purpose of the bond would be to ensure what then? That the grass grows? What?
Sure that he finishes the remainder of the items, the swales, the detention pond at the top, and fills in his driveway at the end, and topsoils and seeds, and maintains it until it's stabilized.
Now, my other question would be,
and then if he does, the point was, if he doesn't, and it washes out again, and we say, hey, it's washed out in our street, and he doesn't clean it up, and it happens again, he doesn't clean it up, then we have something to go and
clean it up. You're the one, you guys never clean it up. I clean up the
Well,
road.
I'm just saying, I mean, we always have bonds on projects like this. It's our standard thing to do. If you feel that since we're in court, we'll be going back to court. You wanna leave it in the judge's hand? That's fine too.
Leave it on the judge's hand. I don't mind that.
We'll
Keep on paying
We'll
bills.
just ask to keep the case open until it,
I think it's in court, leave it in the judge's hands.
Okay.
Okay, so, wait, one legal point. So it sounds to me the judge has made an order, and the order was that the applicant submit the plan, right? And that the commission, it's got to be subject to all applicable rules and regulations, including the standards set forth in the zoning regulations, and also is approved by the borough engineer. So, and the borough engineer is recommending that there be a bond. I'm not sure the commission has to vote on anything except that they acknowledge receipt of this plan, unless the commission wants to impose a bond and secure access. I mean, I don't know what the rub is with the applicant. I assume the applicant, I don't know, but I don't know if the applicant would oppose a access for purposes of inspection. I don't know if that's the issue or the issue is posting a $5,000 bond. Maybe the applicant can address that. Is there either one of those issues?
Again, you're welcome to come on the property at any time and start the access. The access is just basically for heavy equipment to get back to behind the land.
No, that's a different access. The access for us to get on the property.
Oh, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, again, the commission is welcome to come on my property anytime with a phone call. I always tell you that.
All right, well, that's.
As far as the bond, I'm not putting up any more money. I don't believe I take care of the property. I maintain the property. I do the best I can with that property. And that, I believe I did an awful lot to that property.
So my recommendation would be that you're saying, Ned, that we don't have to vote on the plan?
Well, let me getting at one issue. So the applicant has stated on the record, and that can be that'll be reflected in the minutes of the meeting, that he gives permission to the borough. I assume that runs to all the land use officers, including the borough engineer, to enter his property for purposes of inspection. Is that correct, Mr. Finley?
He's agreed to that, yes.
All right. So then what the last matter, as I understand it, is this bond. Is that the last issue?
Yes. And now the only thing that I will say is we never mentioned to the judge about bonds or anything like that. And I think the judge, when he wrote here with the requirements of the town engineer, he was referring to what Jim was stating when we were in court as to what he wanted to see on the plan.
So design requirements. You're talking that you think the judge intended design requirements. Design. I mean, to me, that's logical because the applicant is subject to a court order. Wait a minute. The applicant is
Going back, go back to the judge, it's not a problem. I think we vote on it.
So I'm not picking sides, but I understand what Mr. Finley is saying, and we did not ever mention about a bond when we were in court.
The bond requirement was in my original letter. That was in the original.
But we did bring that up to the
talk
judge.
about to the judge, right, but it wasn't.
Again, Jim.
Andy, I don't have a problem just leaving it with the judge. We're gonna be back to him. We'll be back to him, and I'm sure if you don't complete it, we'll be back to him again, so.
I'm out. I have a suggestion. My suggestion is that the applicant be directed to proceed with completion of these improvements. I assume there has to be a fairly soon report back date to this court, and I don't know what that is. My suggestion is the borough can monitor and inspect in the interim between now and the report back date, report to the court what the progress has been. If it's completed, it's completed. If it's not completed and the borough has a concern about completion and of the improvements pursuant to the town standards, then the borough can request at that court date that the court direct that the applicant post the bond as determined by the borough staff, the borough engineer, and approved by.
I like that.
That's a feasible way. If you guys are talking about a 30-day time frame, maybe to complete this, that's a reasonable court date coming. Reasonable court date in the offing. That's a reasonable.
I think at this point, we need to allow Mr. Finley to move forward because as he has said, he can't do anything on the property because he has the cease and desist. And he's complied with the judge's order to come here, us consider it. And I think that if we have an issue at the next court date, we can bring it up in regard to what we need for a potential bond.
Agreed.
All right, so with that, then I make a motion to approve the soil erosion control plan. It's been acceptable to the borough of Naugatuck. And have a site access agreement and.
No, we're not gonna, no. So you're just gonna do soil erosion control plan that you're approving, you make a motion to approve the soil erosion control plan for 402 Hillside.
Okay, I make a motion to approve the soil erosion control plan for 402 Hillside Avenue, applicant Andrew Finley. Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Okay, let's get it done.
See you in 30 days.
Well, you don't have to come here.
I'll see you.
Is Walmart still here?
Jeez.
Lord.
It was like taking an hour.
Good thing I brought that court order.
That's right.
Okay, very good.
All right, come on up. Let's do Walmart.
Out of the agenda, everything else is good.
Where you are new business D. Where's new business D?
Okay, so, initial discussion for a site plan modification for addition to the building and relocation of the customer pickup parking or property located at 1100 New Haven Road, applicant Walmart Real Estate Business Trust.
No other packet.
Yes, they have, they received their packet.
And I actually looked at it.
Evening Commission, Chaz Evans, licensed engineer in the state of Connecticut with Bowler Engineering offices at 65 LaSalle Road in West Hartford. Here on behalf of Walmart for a site plan modification for approximately 4,800 square foot building addition to the existing Walmart to be utilized for their online pickup program. Currently, this Walmart has a pickup program that's on the far north side of the building, painted in orange. They have the nice canopies that overhang. As I'm sure everyone's noticed with retail in general, online pickup orders have evolved. Most retail stores kind of just evolved out of COVID and made work with what they could make work. Walmart, with this approximately 4,800 square foot addition, is making that portion strictly their pickup operations, racking, storage, and then with that, on the site plan, relocating their striping, their crosswalks, and making that far area kind of the least amount of traffic in that area to be where they would move pickup to get it away from the front entrance. It is currently the area where they have the garden staging. And they'd look to move that further into the parking lot where you have the mulch, you have the trucks come You place the order and then kind of keep the trucks further away from the main entrance to then load your mulch, load that. Still use the garden center as normal, but again, from an operations standpoint, it allows them to really solidify one specific area for the growing online pickup operations. So that's what we're here for tonight. Again, site plan modification for additional striping and the improvements to the building.
Yeah, it's quite interesting. When they first did that canopy, you know, and they had, what, 16 parking spots, and now you go there and they're using other areas for the pickup, and you go there and nobody's in the cars because they all park there to go shopping in the store because it's closer to the front door. And I happened to stop at a couple Walmarts when I was out west, and I found that their customer pickup area is way over the side, not even near the front of the store, to keep that from happening. So that makes sense.
The Naugatuck isn't the only thing. We're doing this across the country.
That makes sense.
So.
Are you gonna leave everything where it's at now, the roof or whatever's covered there, is just gonna be like parking spots now?
Over on, so the canopy area that's over there, the
Yeah,
existing
yeah,
canopy, that canopy is gonna be demolished, that's gonna be restriped as just
Okay,
normal standard park, not to confuse like someone coming up.
Yeah,
saying,
okay.
Gonna try to change the habit.
But I don't believe you're putting a canopy in the new area.
Correct.
It's just gonna be signage at the spot.
Signage, and it's larger parking spaces, the parking spaces are 12 feet wide, so you can get all your accessibility.
Will they be putting the sidewalks in there? I don't know if we're doing any major.
So it's all existing pavement now, and it's all.
On the front of the road.
Down along the road? No, they wouldn't be changing anything down along the road. What they will be doing is they are modifying the sidewalk that is from the online pickup area, the garden center, up to the front entrance. Part of adding this building, they kind of modify and a new.
I know we were trying to get sidewalks put in wherever, and when you made a major change, that would come up.
Yeah, so far, I don't think it's. I don't know. Yeah, right there.
The Rick. Walmart, who's got more in it than them?
Amazon.
You're late. You missed a good show.
I'll make a motion that the site plan modification is not significant and to approve the site plan modification application for the addition to the building and the relocation of the customer pickup parking area for the property located at 1100 New Haven Road, applicant Walmart Real Estate Business Trust.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Eileen would have, you're gonna abstain,
Abstain.
just because you came back.
I'm open.
Wait 6 hours for that.
We got new business B.
Yes.
Accept the special permit application, refer to the planning commission, and set a public hearing date for the Wednesday, October 15th zoning meeting for 2 interior lots for the property located at 0 Field Street, account number 001-3801, applicant.
Anafrios.
What is it?
Anafrio.
Anafrios Total Construction.
So you have the applications, we're just accepting them tonight. This is for 2 interior lots. There is a subdivision application that's gonna be going for the planning commission. Did they get their final approval with wetlands, or they've gotta come back for October?
No, they just basically got.
So the wetlands part of it is still being done. That's a concern to us, huh?
Well, it's on both sides of that house.
Oh. Yeah, it's on the 2 sides, so there's 2 interior lots. And we require a special permit for 2 interior lots, so that's the only thing that's before us. So that will be a public hearing next month.
All right, I'll make a motion to accept the special permit application, refer to the planning commission, and set a public hearing for Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 at 6:10 for 2 exterior lots for the property located at 0 Field Street, account number 001-3801, applicant No First Total Construction.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? New business C, accept a special permit application referred to the planning commission, set a public hearing for Wednesday, October 15th. Zoning meeting for the addition of 2,000 cubic yards of earth material to the a residential lot for the property located at 187 Forest Street, applicant Matthew Patino.
So that is an application. Patinos are building a house at 187 Forest Street. The ground is not level around the house, so they wanted to bring in earth material to level it out. You'll see a site plan on there, especially that they wanted to put potentially an in-ground pool, so that's why they have to level the area. There is wetlands there. They're before the Wetlands Commission to get that, but they're not in the wetland area. They're in the upland review area. So we've got to go through our process with this special permit because it's 2,000 cubic yards.
Okay. Anything, commissioners? No. I make a motion to accept the special permit application referred to the planning commission to set a public hearing for Wednesday, October 15th, 2025 at 6:15 for the addition of 2,000 cubic yards of earth material for the property located at 187 4th Street, applicant Matthew Patino. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, there's no public left.
Oh, there is.
Oh, well, it's fine.
I just looked, I said, wait, it's
Any comment from the public? Any comment from the public?
No comment.
We have one person on,
Anybody on or not?
there's one person, but I don't.
Who, Rocky?
No.
Oh, that's the lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. Ed, you got it?
I do not. I had something I forgot.
What about old business D?
We did.
D, we didn't do D.
What about,
Oh, we don't have anything to discuss.
which one, Mark?
Old business D. The
I
smoke
mean, do
shop.
we even wanna go through?
Well, you said that last month.
Yeah.
I like it, but I'm not sure. It should, it's probably.
Motion. Want to talk about it or not? No.
I think it's worth it to keep it out there.
Keep it like it is.
Well, I mean,
Sure.
It doesn't have to be discussed now, maybe in our slower
Still
time,
to
we'll bring it up.
Yes.
We have more information.
To be still considered.
Well, it's still out there.
All right. Commissioners, anything? No, sir. Nothing. All right. What was that? Rotary looking good. Yeah. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Someone.
Thank you.
Good job. Good job.